1.
What's going on, guys? This is from more LVLONE News, and while you think that there would have been enough game streaming services, another one pops up. But contrary to popular belief, this one's actually been out for a while. It's been out in as a beta program, and that is GeForce Now. Now, Nvidia's GeForce Now is actually a game streaming service that brings high fidelity PC performance to any sort of PC or Mac or iOS or Android device. And the last two is new, so I'll get into that in a second. But firstly, this service has actually been out for about 2 years in a beta program where Nvidia kind of let you try out a bunch of their games. And initially, the way it started out was that they wanted to bring their own game streaming service with their own subscription model of having their own games kind of come out, and you would be paying for that to play the games that's on there. So you would need no actual game or anything. Everything would live on their servers. You'd purchase that stuff, or it'd come with the service that you have it as in GeForce Now, and you would have sort of like a collective library on that. But as time went on, that sort of subscription model kind of changed, and the idea behind GeForce Now and what it would be doing sort of changed. So as of a solid, I would say, year ago or so, they changed that service to be more of a game streaming platform, which would let you bring in your already owned games from different services to play on their servers with all the high fidelity quality that you can have and low latency and stuff, and not needing a crazy build to do so. But let me be clear, what they have going is lets you bring your Steam library, and they've actually added a few services along the way, like the Epic Game Store and other stuff. You're still not getting certain things like Xbox One and Xbox Game Pass and their stuff. That's obviously a whole other separate thing. And then obviously Google Stadia has their own thing. This is just the library that exists that you already have online, but now you have it on a streaming service where you could play any of these games that you couldn't before on a Mac, and it's accessible. And now what they added literally just a good couple days ago is the ability to stream this stuff onto your Android and iOS device, and let me tell you, that is a treat to do. So how does this really compare to the other services? I mean, first off, they didn't come out of nowhere with the service. Like I said, they've been baiting it for about 2, almost 3 years now, where they've gotten people in, been able to beta test for high fidelity, 60 frames per second, 1080p. Now that's their big standing point. Obviously, there are other streaming services that want to state that they can do much higher, like Google Stadia, but we're not really seeing the performance level that should deliver. And even when you're getting things like 1080 and 60 on those streaming services, are they the best? I'm not 100% sure that they're delivering what they're delivering on. What I can say is that GeForce Now is delivering 1080 at 60 frames per second. It talks about it, it says it, and it delivers it. But that's not all. Now, well, they have that, and that's their main primary platform on all their games that you would obviously stream. One of the big things is that, with Nvidia being the graphics manufacturer, the chip makers and everything, they have obviously RTX, and RTX games are just starting to hit the wave now. And for people that don't know, RTX has a bunch of new systems in it that give more performance to gaming, like high reflective lighting, particle effects and stuff. So you're seeing crazy real reflections and different things happening within the game. Now, there are only a couple of games that are supported on the thing, but you're actually able to see all of that process and everything through your computer, your PC, or your mobile, and literally at 1080 at 60 frames a second, which looks absolutely great. Now, I haven't really even touched upon what the service looks like or what it's actually doing. So depending on what the system is that you have, GeForce can be equipped on your TV, which they're starting to come out with. It is on Nvidia Shield, and obviously that's really the first point of where this stuff is used, and obviously that you'll see, since obviously they have a controller and stuff. And then there's the actual PC build where you're getting the app and stuff with that. But now they have also, they're baiting the mobile for Android and iOS, and we got to check it out on Android, which works pretty effective for already what is out. But let's get along with the other stuff. So the way the service works is that you have actually two sets of accounts that you can make, or two sets of subscriptions. Now there's a free subscription, and the way that would work is that you would just have your game library, you know, kind of import that in with Steam and stuff, and you can play free. But they are 1 hour game sessions, which then you would have to log off and log back in, and you get put on a normal queue. Now, we're not exactly sure what that queue looks like and what that queue is going to look like in the future when there are more games coming out and the traffic might get bigger for a game that's maybe a little bit more like of a AAA title and stuff. But I don't know if it will get, like, the queue will get crazy high or not. All I can say is that then they have the Founders subscription model right now, which will lock you in at $5 a month. And what that does is it gives you priority service for when you want to get into a game. You can pretty much get in right away. It'll let you have up to 6 hours of a gaming session before you would have to actually log off and log back in, which just seems about the right amount of time for any long gaming sessions. Hell, I think that's even more than that. I mean, the only times that this will be affected in any other way is if you're playing some sort of MMO or something that states like an ultra hard mission, which you would need to sort of take breaks on and everything else. But I can't imagine these things being more than 6 hours. It's really just more of the MMO scene or MOBA that might last you hours on end. So I wouldn't be too worried about that stuff. And who knows, they're actually surveillancing the times they get on and off in terms of like long points of play, and 6 hours seems like it's good enough. And what the Founders membership also gives you is it gives you the access to have RTX games being able to play with everything that you have. So I would like to mention that the free service does let you do everything that I said in terms of let you play 1 hour game sessions at a time, but it's always free. And you would be put on a normal queue. But the only other thing that doesn't have also with that is you can't play RTX games. You can play the same games at 1080 at 60 frames a second, but the RTX effects and the graphics and, you know, all the boost to everything that it's getting, that won't actually show up. I don't even know if you can actually turn that on. So that's something that you end up getting in the Founders edition. And we're not 100% if that's exactly worth that right now, but they're always going to be adding games. There are games that are supporting it more and more now. Games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Metro like Exodus. So there are going to be different games that kind of support it here and there. We just are seeing very light of a library. I'd say it's like 5 or 6 games as of right now, but it's always going to be added. So the one thing I love about the service is just the way everything is laid out. The UI is actually very intuitive, whether it's on your Nvidia Shield and it comes up as a tab as GeForce Now, which then you go in and you can see the list of games you can purchase, which purchases it on your Steam account, on your Epic account, on your probably EA Access. Like all that stuff is actually showing up. Or if it's on the PC, it's showing up in a very similar way. Or if it's on the mobile, and the mobile shows you like the list of games that you have that you can play and stuff like that with it. So the UI actually works really well with kind of just getting everything together that you're able to then like navigate and use and import games that you would want to either start playing that you own already, that you would want to purchase off of one of the accounts that you have, or even if you want to do a straight up stream of like the game that you have currently in your own house if you're in your Wi-Fi network, so that you can remote play, which if you modded a game or anything else, then that obviously shows up. Nvidia is going to be really good about keeping games up to date. They say within an hour of a game's update, you'll have the update within that game so that you don't have to worry. Obviously, if you have, if you're buying season passes and stuff like that, then that all has to be purchased. But otherwise, game updates and stuff will all be there. You'll be able to like launch the game, have it already. Obviously, this is nothing that you needed to install. on your end, it's already on the cloud and ready to go. Now, how much data are you actually using when you're trying to stream something, you know, at 1080 at 60 frames? Nvidia with GeForce Now is actually thinking that you need to use around like 30 MB to get you 1080 to 60 frames. If not, it's like 15 MB down, that'll get you 720 and 60 frames, but you should really be around 50 MB down to kind of like get good coverage and low latency on top of that. So that's a really good marker. While there's obviously other streaming services that'll say that they'll give you 4K and almost 60 frames for even around that same amount, and it's not actually happening. So these are actually pretty good estimate numbers that you should go by to like have as something that you would be able to like get 1080 and 60. And let me tell you, like, the games look fantastic at like 1080 and 60. You can tell that they're running every latest driver. So their most high performance PCs, like these games look good. I mean, I'd like to compare certain things to like Project xCloud, and Project xCloud has its own things going on that work really well. These games just look really well done in terms of like how the clarity and everything that you're seeing, and then obviously it's graphical prowess that's being taken advantage of on the server side from Nvidia and GeForce. Overall, you know, everything is great that I've been talking about, but I feel like I have to kind of get onto its own element of talking about just the mobile. Let me tell you, mobile is refreshing on this thing. I've been trying mobile on different things, but this does something very well, which it actually lets you not only use a Bluetooth controller on it, but there's also a virtual keyboard on for games that, you know, like you'd want to kind of use it with or try it out or anything else. Now, what that allows you to do is obviously you have a virtual keyboard on the screen, so that's good, and you can actually use in your hand, but it also makes it possible for other mobile controllers that would need to make a virtual stance of where you're pushing the buttons in the actual phone, and you can remap it. And a perfect example of it is me using the Black Shark 2 Pro, which it's a phone pretty much made for mobile gaming. The phone actually works really well with a bunch of different games. We're actually going to get a review going in on that very soon, but we have good examples of like us playing with the virtual keyboard on screen with the actual joysticks that attach to the Black Shark 2 Pro, and it all works really well while we're using it, and it all looks pretty good on screen. The only gripe I would say, and this is something that is obviously in beta, so you know we'd like to see better iterations or things getting improved over time, is that once you do map it, or that you have some sort of sense of where things are, I think there should be an option to make virtual control invisible, because now I already have my actual control mapped out to where the buttons are supposed to be, and I don't want to physically see these buttons anymore, because now that's just getting in the way of me actually being able to play, because there are just so many buttons that it's obviously being accounted for while you're trying to play, like, you know, different kinds of games. And we really just took advantage of like the fighting game stuff just to kind of see, you know, where the latency and stuff is. And now you're not going to be playing, I don't know, I wouldn't advise playing certain things on ranked mode, like we were playing Brawlhalla and stuff, and even Tekken, but it's good to play casual. It's good to play really anything depending on like the kind of connection that you have, and that's why we really loved using it. I think this is a great start for what they promised. They're delivering it on, and they're actually giving us more features than some of the other services. But then, to be fair, they've actually been having this stuff going for a while. The mobile is just like the newest step, but everything else seems like it's fleshed out. Now, one thing that's crazy is that, you know, as I'm coming to a close in our review, and I would say that this is probably some of the better performing game streaming services that I've seen ever. While we have betas of like one of the program, and this technically still feels like it's in a beta phase for certain, you know, platforms like the mobile and stuff. There's certain game streaming services that came out just saying that their other features are going to come out later, and that's, you know, that's not something that we want to buy into. But this is something that I can honestly say available for all platforms. $5 a month, it's definitely worth it, especially if you're owning, you know, you have a laptop on the go constantly and stuff like that, things that are very lightweight, and you just want to get your full game experience with your game library that you already own, it is a perfect thing. And you know, we are speaking to the team. They want to say never for certain things. So will we see something like the PC version of Xbox Game Pass and that library come to this? These things are a possibility, since obviously Project xCloud is out there and is trying to do its own streaming services. We'll have to see how that all plays out, but you know, the more the merrier when you being able to take advantage of your entire game library, and whoever can obviously give you the best experience should have the most to deliver, and this is doing that right now. So I hope you guys like this review. Check us out for more content, check us out for more reviews, for more exclusives. GeForce Now, I would have said that the mobile was its killer feature for this, as I'm trying to give you the best killer feature out there. But honestly, an Android TV, depending if it has a GeForce app, Nvidia Shield, your mobile device, and your PC, all killer apps. Literally use it anywhere if that's what it's intended for. Like the video, comment, subscribe to the page. We'll bring you more as it comes in, and we'll give you all the little nooks and crannies that you should be taking advantage of. If you want to see anything that we should be covering, give us a shout. This is LVLONE News. See you guys later.